Hi, I'm Mark with ProLine range hoods, and today I'm down here low to teach you about our 1300 CFM inline blower, how to inspect it when you receive it, and how to tell if there's any problem. So this may or may not apply to you, but if you do have a problem with your 1300 CFM blower, we're going to try and fix it here. So we've set this up in our studio, and we've put it down low on this dolly so that we can get adequate airflow underneath. We can get the airflow out the top, but we can still see the mechanics of what we're doing in here, and we can show you close-up videos of this. Now the controls are set up with a meter that will show the watts, the volts, and the amps. And then we've got a speed controller. You can ignore these buttons. These would be for light control, but this would be a wall controller. This turns the fan on and off. This fan is 100% variable. Now you heard that. This fan is an induction motor, 2800 RPM. It's an axial motor with cross-flow impellers. And this is 100% variable, so on those low speeds on startup, you will get that hum as the capacitor gets the motor starting. So what we've done is we've set this up with the maximum amount of vibration problems that this can have. What will happen is there are a couple of critical connection points in the fan where the hub of the motor connects to the actual fan blade. And that can be off by up to 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch. And if that's the case, it will create a vibration. So we're going to show you how to identify that, how to fix it. We'll also give you some tips on how to inspect this when you receive it, just to avoid any shipping issues, any problems. If these get dropped in shipping from a really high elevation, they can land flat, the box can look fine, but the motor inside weighs so much that it can bend this bracket here a little bit. We'll show you how to check that. So to do this, it's pretty simple. You're going to need a really good Phillips screwdriver, a nice medium-sized flat screwdriver. I'm going to actually use the Phillips screwdriver to loosen and tighten the fasteners that hold the blade to the hub of the motor. That's where the vibration happens, and that's where we've set it up to happen. I'm going to use the screwdriver here as a spacer tool. Now you can use anything that will give you about a 1/16 of an inch spacing. So when you receive this item, the first thing you want to do is open it up, inspect it, and what you're looking for is just that this bracket right here is still in its original shape, and that you have clearances, and that this bracket has not been deformed. It's really a rare occasion, but we have had that happen where it's been dropped and the weight of the motor will twist the bracket a little bit. It's an easy fix, and we're happy to send you a replacement, but we need to know that up front. Then once you verified that everything is as it was shipped, once you've plugged it in, if you notice a slight tiny vibration, that can be fixed, and we'll show you how. Now to do that, we've set this motor up, we've loosened up the mounting screws, and we've pushed it all the way to one side. These mounting screws have play of about a 32nd of an inch, but when you multiply that by 5 mounting screws all the way over to one side, you can be far enough off that it does cause a vibration. It's very similar to balancing a tire on a car. So if a tire is perfectly balanced, but it's not mounted on the rim so that it's concentric, perfectly mounted, you can have a wobble, even though the tire is balanced. Same thing with the fan. We independently balance the fans in the manufacturing process, so the vibrations that we've found generally come from the mounting of the hub to the fan itself. So you're going from the black hub to the aluminum blade. So as you look down at this, I'll spin this by hand and you'll be able to notice. So what I've done is, and I'll use this screwdriver to point it out. So what I'll do is I'll spin this, and the frame rate on the camera might not pick this up completely, but you'll be able to see that these screws are the screws that we're going to loosen and tighten in a specific pattern, in a specific order, to make sure that this gets repositioned correctly. There are 5 of these. This is the 10-inch wide 1300 CFM fan. So on this model, there are 5 of these screws. And what we need to do is just loosen them up and shift this over and then carefully retighten them using a star pattern, much like you were taught in changing a tire, so that we get a perfectly centered aluminum fan on the hub of the motor. So one of the things you can do, if you can't see it right here, then what I'll do is I'll let you listen to this. So because it's rubbing here, I know that the wide spot is right here. And so you can see the wide spot here and here. So we only need to move this much this way. But this will cause a serious vibration. And I'm going to turn this on, and I won't be able to talk, but you'll be able to hear the vibration and you can feel it. So now this is on high. Show you how powerful this is. Now, I'm not sure that you could hear that on the start up and shut down. Most of what you're hearing there is just a huge amount of airflow. You can see how powerful these are. These are best if they're put in an attic space. You mount them using some isolating mounts to the studs. You can run them horizontal or vertically. It has a sealed bearing, and it's permanently lubricated sealed bearing motor, so you get a lifetime of trouble-free service. But the vibration's got to go, so that's what we're going to show you how to do. Okay, so I'll explain the steps. So what I'm going to do here real quick, we may speed this up. I'll go through and I will loosen these up, get these good and loose so that I can move it around. Make sure you loosen up all 5 of them. And now I've loosened this, and you can see that I can move this. You want to be careful. You don't want to loosen it up too much. Like, you don't need the screws to be up this high. You just need the screws high enough to be able to move the fan assembly. And the reason that's the case is that you don't want it to tip if you were to check it. You want it to be flat, and if you were to tighten it right there, that's where it needs to be. So what we're doing, we're abandoning the screwdriver. It's too big. We've tried playing cards, we've tried business cards. What we're down to is about double the thickness of a Post-it note. So we've taken a Post-it note and folded it over. What I'm going to try and do is stick 3 of these in there, kind of in a triangle pattern around for proper spacing. My goal is to have something in there that I can spin up and test and keep the spacing. So we slide this one in right there. Looks good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put pressure on this side so that it spaces it out. And I'm going to put the other one in here so that we're about 130 degrees, 120 degrees off. And then I'll put the final one in. We're close. Boy, that is so close. So let me spin this now. Just try and get it. So in this case, it looks like the perfect spacing might be the equivalent of 4 Post-it notes. So what we're going to do is just carefully tighten these. So I actually skipped 2. So we tightened this one over here and this one. So now I'll and it's just barely, you can see it's just barely hand tight. Then what I'll do is remove the paper pieces and we'll just check it. Sorry, there's some discoloration in the rim, so it may look like it's wobbling, but it's not. So I'll just turn it on low. So if you're going to try this, be really, really careful. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this in. I'm barely going to touch the edge, and I'm going to do this so that the coloring on the outside rim of the fan blade is consistent, so that I can get a better idea of whether this is perfect or not. It feels great. And this will eliminate that discoloration around the edge. So what I'm looking for right now is that if I hold this on the bracket and touch it to the side, I get a continuous tone. So it feels a lot better. It's much better balanced. It's about as close as we can get it. So what I'm going to do now is turn it off and then wait for it to stop, and we'll continue tightening. We'll do another round of kind of hand tight in a star pattern, and then we'll do a final kind of super tight round. So again, here we'll just start with this one, maybe a quarter turn, go to this one, quarter turn. So if you have some thin playing cards, they probably work, but like I said, the perfect thing in this model was I folded over the Post-it note into quarters. So I folded it in half one time, folded it over one time, and then folded it over again. So they're all tight. Let's turn this up. So as you can see, we're much better off. As I'm sitting right here, it's really perfect. It's very quiet. At high speed, hopefully you can hear that in the video, and the video picks that up. Now that it's balanced, we just get that nice smooth ramp up. So as you can see, fixing a slight vibration that makes a huge difference, and when these motors operate as we've specified them to operate and as we've built them to operate, there's nothing better on the market. So for the very small number of people that this applies to, I hope this helps. We don't get a lot of these, but it's an easy fix. If you have any questions, give us a call or send us an email. And thank you for your business.